Welcome back, everybody, to Hoops HD. It is actually
Been
now
six
just turned into
days.
March 8th here, but it is day 6 of championship
It's
week.
been 60. Can I get out now?
I'm your host, Chad Sherwood. We
It's
got
been a
David
week.
Dorman there. We got David Griggs down there.
It's been a week. Can I get out now?
This
It,
is the championship week video notebook. And
yes. I'm in the
that is David Griggs locked away in the puppet bunker where he shall remain.
well no, it's been a week. It's been six
Uh,
days.
it's still been 6 days.
Yeah,
And,
that's a
and
week.
this is a 15-day week, Griggs. 15 days.
Why?
Because it's championship week. It's the best
Oh,
15-day week
yeah,
of the year.
okay.
We're going to go over a lot of stuff that's going on today. Start with some news and notes, specifically some scores. Uh, let's start. Torben, let's start with the Big Ten. One Big Ten game tonight, Illinois over Purdue, and it was a really good game, back and forth, close most of the way.
Absolutely. Like you said, it was a great game back and forth. Champaign was absolutely rocking. The Allstate Arena, Allstate Center was just thumping, and the crowd was really into it, and Orange Crush were all over it. Purdue was game. They had a lead in the second half, but Illinois was just too much down the stretch, nailed their free throws, and Illinois wins. Illinois is getting some good momentum here. They're finally healthy. They're not sick anymore, says Coach Underwood. So they seem to be healthy and they're not injured anymore. So I think this Illinois team is looking as good as they have all year. Very dangerous.
I think they're going
Yeah.
to be very dangerous in March Madness. Go ahead, Griggs.
I was going to just sort of echo that. Like their profile is all over the place, but then again, their health and availability has been all over the place. And how does the Hoops HD committee and the real committee sort of evaluate that? Do you sort of, if they finish strong, which the win today, albeit at home, was, but if they pick up some big wins in the Big Ten tournament, how far up the seed list do they go? Because they've been as low as a 7 and an 8 in some of our recent projections. Could they get several lines higher than that?
I think they can. Because
Yeah.
I just think I think this team passes the eye test. I know we hate that word eye test, but they pass the
Yeah.
eye test for me.
Well, they
Uh,
they pass the paper test depending on how you read the paper. I mean, if you take into account injuries, which they say they do and they should, maybe you move them up a few lines.
I'll tell you about other things here in the A10. I think if I did things right here, could we actually see the profiles here on the screen?
That's VCU in Edwardsville you got up,
Yes.
but yes.
Yes. Well, the one on the left is VCU because I was moving over to the A10 Griggs, where VCU, oh wow, lost at home to Dayton in the regular season finale tonight. And I put the full file up here because now we're going to have the big debate. If VCU does not win the auto bid, do they get in with this loss?
Um, is Tytel still awake?
No,
Uh,
probably not. But
okay,
I'm just saying we don't have to decide today. I'm just saying that this is going to be a debate over the next week. If VCU,
right. Well, if all things are created equal, I think the answer is no. They don't have a win against anyone, much less away from home against the team that's in the field. UC San Diego does, Drake does, a lot of the UC Irvine does.
If
VCU
I
does
were,
not.
yeah.
what VCU had going for them was that gaudy record, gaudy
Yeah,
overall record. And you figure if they won this one today, that would have been 26 wins already, two more in the A10 tournament to the finals. It's 28. You can't leave them out.
right.
It's
And,
one
and
less, but it could be the damaging one less.
Yeah, and you can't make the distinction. They don't, and I don't think they do between multi-bid league, under the radar league, mid-major, whatever terminology you want to use. When you start to go through the checklists of the teams that are on the bubble, strong out of conference schedule, no. Wins away from home against teams in the field, no. Wins of any kind against teams in the field, no. Who else on the bubble is missing all of that?
I'll tell you what, with the discussion we're going to have the next couple of weeks here, I'll go back to the scoreboard real quick. Memphis took care of South Florida. I have all those max scores up there. First of all, Akron finished off their season, but we had a couple fun games in the MAC there that decided the last two spots in Cleveland in the MAC tournament. The winner of the Western Michigan Bowling Green game was going in, and Western Michigan pulled out the win somehow. And then all Central Michigan had to do was defeat a lousy 5-win Northern Illinois team
At home.
at home, and they get the last spot in. Otherwise, Bowling Green would get it, and it was a game, double overtime.
It was a game, all right. Central Michigan was playing with their food, as Greg likes to say, way, way too much. They were way too comfortable. They were throwing the ball around in the first half, turnovers, taking terrible shots. And you got to be locked in now because other teams, although Northern Illinois season was over, when it's the end, you just get a full effort from the other team that's not supposed to win and not supposed to be there. Northern Illinois played one of their better games of the year, and Central Michigan is now done.
Yep, James Dent for Northern Illinois. It looked like a pass to me.
It was
The guy under the day, and it was a line drive that went in the basket to win it with 2 seconds left. It was one of the crazier shots you're ever going to see. And that's it for Central Michigan. Also, both those teams, their season is over. They're off the survival board. Griggs,
Yeah.
Mountain West. We've been talking up this Boise State team for a while, and Colorado State goes there and wins.
Yeah, a couple things here. Boise State straddling the bubble. I think that they were probably a little too concerned that they wouldn't get sent to Dayton, so they wanted to try and position themselves.
Oh, they're below Dayton right now. In my
Yeah, I
book.
think they are
They may need a. I think at least they need the Mountain West Finals now.
Yeah. So New Mexico holding serve, I think that locks them in.
Yeah.
I really do.
They are outright Mountain West champions.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There's no way New Mexico misses.
Yeah, I think they could miss the bus to Las Vegas and still get selected. I will say this, Colorado State probably almost definitely needs the auto bid to get in. But right now, I think they're playing better than anyone else. I made this point the other night that they're the hottest team in the conference. It took them too long to get to this point, and because of that, they just didn't build the profile throughout the season that they need to get selected without the auto bid. But they're there now, and I think they can beat everybody in this league. And I think they will. I think they're going to be my pick to win the Mountain West tournament and get the bid. And I think New Mexico, San Diego State, they've got a little more work to do, but in Utah State are all going with them. And I cannot wait to watch the selection show with Joby.
Might Colorado State be going to Dayton? They got that was their first Tier 1 win. They're getting the resume is getting stronger.
Do you
as
think
we
they
go down the
can?
stretch. I do. I think they can get there.
That's
weird. I know.
I think
this was their best win of the season tonight.
Yes.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll avoid Dayton because I think they'll win the conference tournament.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they now have the sweep of Boise. They've beaten
Yeah.
Utah State and San Diego State at home. But I think with a Mountain West final loss, maybe to New Mexico, it becomes interesting. But we'll see.
Yeah.
They're going to need the final. Yes, I agree.
Let's jump over to the conference tournament games, and we're going to start with some of the conferences that started this afternoon. Dorman, Big South. We were looking forward to a really good day, and well, we had one great game and 3 snoozers, I thought.
Yeah, I'm with you. High Point looked like they have all year. The best team in this conference. They were hitting their outside shots. Gardner Webb, they didn't let Gardner Webb in the game. That's what a top seed needs to do. Because when the lower seed and the underdogs starts getting confident, they get dangerous. High Point wasn't going to have it today, and they absolutely took Gardner Webb out. And High Point looked real good.
They did. That second game, Griggs, Radford Presbyterian overtime game. It was fun throughout.
Yeah.
But I'm going to throw a stat at you. 3 for 12 from the free throw line for the game. That was Presbyterian on the game. Just go 50% from the free throw line. They win it in regulation.
Yeah, and that was one of the difference makers that allowed Radford to advance. Yeah, I mean, nothing else to say other than that.
Yeah,
the other games we'll get to. Charleston Southern, you had speculated that they would give UNC Asheville a game, Chad, and I gotta say, I know that they blew it open, but for the first half, you were right. I mean, Charleston Southern was sort of in there all the way up until They started to lose their grip towards the end of the first half, but for a second I thought you were smart, and then I realized no, you're not.
All right. Winthrop wins the Winwood Cup. It wasn't even as close as that final
No, it
score.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Longwood made a late run. But how about these games tomorrow at Dorman? High Point, Radford, Asheville, Winthrop.
Uh, I think Radford really got tested to the limit today. They used a lot of energy. Their starters played big time minutes. I know it's college. I know these guys are young. I look for High Point to continue what they did today, and I look for them to take control early and beat Radford. And do you want another opinion, or we're going to Griggs?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Give me Asheville, Winthrop too, because I think that
I
could be a real
a
good game.
few, yeah, I do think this will be a very good game. I think these are the two best teams behind High Point in the conference. I picked Winthrop to win this conference the other day. I'm sticking with them.
A bold pick. I do think that Winthrop can get the win tomorrow. I'll say this about High Point. There are a select few under the radar schools that are spending NIL money to try and get bigger rosters. Liberty, Grand Canyon. While High Point isn't at that level, McNeese is another one. They're at a higher level than anyone else in the conference, and I think that we were a little bit disappointed in them this year throughout the year, even though that they were really good because the expectations were so high. And right now, I think they're just finally starting to play at a level that's higher than what they've played at all year. I honestly, I think they blow through the next two games. I think they're finally hitting their stride.
Let's jump over to the Missouri Valley Conference, where it was quarterfinal round day.
What a
Uh,
day.
Griggs, let's start at the top here. The first two games really weren't that exciting, though. Drake and
No,
Belmont just kind of took care of business.
yeah. Illinois State kind of came back to make the score look respectable. I mean, God, they were just getting boat raced in the first half. Drake not really having to sweat at all.
I
Uh,
did do a little research though. Dorman, this is for you. I found out something about Drake. They're in Iowa.
In Des Moines. Des Moines.
um,
We like Iowa.
yeah.
This can be Valpo with the upset over Northern Iowa. Ben Jacobson team goes down. I thought Northern Iowa would have their way with this team.
Yeah.
Valpo had a great game last night against UIC, and I just thought that was like the big end of the season, hurrah, hurrah, and that was the way they were going to go out. Not so much. Coach Powell said, we're going to win again, and got out to a huge lead in the first half. Lost
Yeah.
the whole thing. 20 points gone, down one with about 2 minutes to go, but they held on. They held on to beat them, and now they get Bradley tomorrow night in the other semi. Quick note on Murray State that lost to Bradley today. Steve Prom has stepped down from the Racer program.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
head
a
coach
lot to
stepped down.
unpack after a boring afternoon, a highly eventful evening with, like you said, and watching this, I was just in utter disbelief at how good Valpo looked throughout the first half and then in the beginning of the second half. And then when Northern Iowa, it was was it a 20 to run to nothing run or a 22 to nothing run, whatever it was, but they were down 19. And before Valpo scored again, uh, Northern Iowa had the lead. And I just think, I don't know what you guys were thinking watching that, but my natural reaction is, okay, Northern Iowa's awake now, and they're going to hold on and win this and then go on and win the tournament, just as I predicted. That's not what happened, and I can't pick them to win tomorrow because they're not playing.
Yeah, and shout out to Cooper Schweiger. He got the block there with 3 seconds
Yeah,
left
he
to
did,
seal the
yeah.
win for him. He had a great game for them.
He's played great both
Al
nights.
Wright with
And
29 points also,
I,
but
I
uh,
would like to make the following suggestion to Valpo. I mean, had you started playing like this before now, you would have been in much better shape coming into the tournament.
But
well,
Griggs, everything is all right.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right. And let's talk about All Right in his team here, Dorman. How about them? Can they keep it going against Bradley tomorrow?
Well, I picked Bradley the other day to win this conference tournament when we went through it. I'm going to say the Cinderella run ends for Valpo, and Bradley takes it. I just really like the experience that Bradley has. I like Coach Wardell's red ruby shoes, and I think Bradley Drake in the final Sunday on CBS.
Yeah, Griggs. I think Belmont looks so good today. I I don't know about this game. I think they do give Drake a game tomorrow, but
Oh, I do too. And
and it wouldn't completely shock me if Belmont upset them. But I think Drake finds a way, as they've been doing a lot lately.
yeah, I'm with that would be my exact assessment too. And the other thing is that Drake is probably a lot more desperate. Or not, I'm sorry, Belmont is probably a lot more desperate. I think Drake is pretty sure they're getting in. Uh,
Yeah, but if there's an excuse for them to leave out, this would be a quad three loss to Belmont, even on a
mm,
neutral court. Uh, if they get Bradley in the finals, that would only be a quad two loss.
you
If they
know,
get Valpo in the finals, it would not be a quad two loss. But
yeah,
if you've got to put another loss on the profile you want it to be the best loss you could put on there, maybe this one. I think this one more win absolutely makes them a lock, though.
yeah.
Let's check in over in the Summit League, which was a real fun conference today.
Wow,
Uh,
what a
Let's start up top here, Dorman, with the North Dakota State South Dakota game. We found out going into right before the start of the game uh, that both Jackson Monty and Jakari White, North Dakota State's top two scorers, were going to be out for this game. Uh, Yet, despite that, they had an 11-point lead early in the second half, and then came South Dakota.
Yeah, South Dakota's played like this all year. They're like Jekyll and Hyde. They get good, and you like during the year, and I'm like, I like the South Dakota team. I like the Coyotes, and then they look like terrible the next night and lose by 20. But the second half, they really played really well. Exploited the North Dakota State defense and hit a big shot down low to get the lead, and they didn't give it up. And surprisingly, the Coyotes move on, and they'll play Omaha.
yeah.
Not only was North Dakota State up 11 in the second half, Griggs, by the way, the other game we played, which is the bottom one there, South Dakota State had an 11-point second half lead, uh, and then came Trayson Eaglestaff.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
remarkable. South Dakota State, who we thought was the better team, was in control in the second half, and then North Dakota from that point on outscored them by 27.
well,
And,
Trayson Eaglestaff by the end of the game, Summit League tournament record, personal record, I believe it was a school record, 51 points today.
yeah,
Just 51 points. I
and
what I didn't know this is a guy that I mean he was one of their best scorers, but a good game for him was 19, 20, 22 points. Not
yeah,
51.
I mean it was a valiant effort, but he was outscored by 18. It was 69-51. South Dakota State with the win over him. But North Dakota getting the win overall, and
That one went over my head for a minute there, Griggs. That was a
okay,
little rough on me. I figured it out
it,
at the end,
it
but
it's
It's
getting
late.
late.
it's late.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the Yotes are a sentimental favorite. We've always been Yotes fans. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but we have been here at Hoops HD. But we like this Omaha and the trash can thing too. Do we have to pick a winner in that one? Because
Just
we
tune
like
in.
both
It's
the
going to be a
teams.
great game. How about
Yeah, it's
that?
going to be a great game. I think
I'm
Omaha.
picking the Yotes.
You picking the
Really?
Yotes? I'm picking them as well, which could set up a potential in-state battle for the championship game between North Dakota and South Dakota, a
Uh,
Dakota War.
just to let you know, North Dakota and South Dakota are not in the same
No,
state,
no,
Griggs.
it's well, one's in the northern part of Dakota and one's in the southern part of Dakota. It's an in-state rivalry. What are you talking?
It's part of his
Uh,
border war trophy.
Yeah, it's part of the.
I'm sticking with my call. I think Omaha does lose. I think St. Thomas wins tomorrow. I think St. Thomas wins on Sunday, and I think Omaha goes to the tournament through the back door.
So St. Thomas takes down the Yote. Oh, it would be great
So
to
if
see
it's
They,
the
Omaha
Yotes.
St. Thomas, it's over, Chad?
if Omaha and St. Thomas both win tomorrow, Sunday's game will be meaningless in terms of the NCAA tournament bid. It'll just be for a Summit League title.
I hate
Yeah.
to see
Omaha
that.
will be going. So, uh, if we just if we get either South Dakota or North Dakota win, then the game will have meaning, or both of them win. Uh, let's go over to it was opening round day in the SoCon. How about that? We had let's start up top there, Griggs, with the Mercer, Western Carolina. That was a pretty good game.
Yeah, right down to the wire. Mercer surviving, getting the win there. It wasn't the one that I was most excited about, but it was clearly like the better game of the day. And I think Mercer has won the right to get eliminated tomorrow.
Yeah, that
What
was
is next star?
Alex Holt with 4 seconds left. Hit part of 24 points. He got the big shot to win it there. Uh, VMI, it really wasn't even as close as that final score against
No,
the
it wasn't.
Citadel. And the Citadel with
Wiping.
only the Citadel, their season's done, and they are a strong front runner for our centenary award for the worst team in D1 now, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, it was the Citadel. The effort really was there, and they made some runs. They fell down by as much as 20 in battle to make it respectable, but VMI gets the season sweep in that rivalry and moves on to lose tomorrow to Greensboro.
Yeah, Dorman, what about these 4 games tomorrow? I think maybe not the Chattanooga Mercer or the Greensboro VMI game, but I think the other 2 games could be really fun.
You nailed it. I can't wait. One of my favorite games tomorrow of the day will be that Sanford Furman battle, and that should be fantastic. Um,
By the way, keep an eye on, look at those times are correct on the screen. For whatever reason, they do the one and the 2 seeds in the afternoon. That'll be the late game at 8:30 tomorrow.
You know,
they claim they like to get them off their feet first, so that's why they have the better seed, so they get more rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But go ahead. I sorry, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to
no, but
interrupt you.
I'm with you. Furman Sanford tomorrow, one of the great games of the day. I think it'll go right down to the wire. Whoever knocks down the big shots and gets stops will, I think, get a shot at Chattanooga because I was not impressed with the way Mercer finished the last 15 minutes tonight.
Yeah, Griggs, how about that East Tennessee State Wofford game tomorrow?
good game. I'm going with East Tennessee State, but Wofford has had some of their moments, and I mean it's anything but a sure thing.
Let's jump over to the Coastal. It was opening round day, and we had, I guess, Griggs, we had a decent game in the
We,
first one between Delaware and Stony Brook, and not
yeah,
so
we
much in
had
the Hofstra
technical
A&T game.
difficulties, is what we had. Flow hoops, come on.
Oh,
Yeah,
But anyhow,
yeah,
yeah, Dorman, Delaware finds a way to get pissed, holds on
yeah,
over Stony Brook. All 5 starters
yeah.
in double figures for the Blue Hens. Uh,
They got off to a great start, huge lead. I saw like a 15, couldn't see it, but I saw the score. They got off to a big double-digit lead in the first half, and then slowly through the second half decided to give it all away. Barely held on. So yes, Delaware moves on. They get the Camels tomorrow afternoon.
you get the Camels, Hofstra, very impressive over A&T, and I think this could be a 6-11 upset tomorrow when they play Monmouth, actually.
yeah. I'm actually kind of excited for a couple of these games, and that's one of them, the Monmouth Hofstra game. And I think that while College of Charleston was great at home, they weren't the best road team. Another game that I'm really looking forward to is this Drexel Alon game, and I know we alluded to this earlier. As well as Towson has played down the stretch, and as good as a story that would be, they might get a battle in that first game.
I'm trying to figure out what my cat is doing behind me here. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
uh,
Going
uh,
up top. Oh,
uh, there she is. Campbell and Delaware, Dorman. I know Campbell has been missing their best player for a while now, and Northeastern Hampton, the other game there, and Hampton's actually been coming on strong lately. So, any thoughts on either one of those games?
yeah, nothing would surprise me really in any of these four. Like you just said, I wouldn't be surprised to see Hofstra. And none of these underdogs would. Hampton, I agree with you, playing much better. Northeastern kind of slid in at the end and not playing great. Campbell should be on upset alert. We've seen these teams that have played the day before just feel the court better, get going, get their legs moving. The teams that people think that have been resting and stuff are the ones that actually aren't looking as good because they're not in rhythm as much. They didn't get to shoot in the gym the day before. That's my take on it. Other people have different. And then Drexel Elon, that's a 50-50 coin flip. I'm taking Elon, but nothing would surprise me there.
I'm taking Elon as well on that one.
It was second round day in the six-step ladder of the West Coast tournament. Start with the Pepperdine Portland game up there, where uh, actually it was all Portland early. They were big at half, and all
Yeah.
Pepperdine in the second half, Griggs.
Yeah, I mean, not really much to review. Pepperdine pretty much led from tip to buzzer. Or
No,
no,
they
no,
didn't.
Portland.
Once
Yeah, they
again,
did.
it was, as I just said, Portland was up huge at half, and then it was all Portland the first half and all Pepperdine the second half.
Yeah, so Pepperdine, I mean, from in the
That go to
second
31
half, they
points, 11
dominated tip to
assists.
buzzer. Are you not listening to what I'm saying here, Chad?
Well,
We got to go
uh,
back and delete that.
yeah, yeah. Loyola Marymount San Diego, we're cheating tonight. That game, as we record this, they're only at halftime, but it is a 12-point LMU lead right now, Dorman. So looking pretty good for the Lions to advance.
Yep, last night I did pick the Lions. I thought San Diego was fortunate to get by Pacific. Steve Lavin's Toreros will need a huge second half in Vegas tonight if they're going to get past Loyola Marymount. The winner gets Wazoo. And tomorrow we start to see some better, I think, better teams playing as we go through this West Coast ladder. Oregon State and Wazoo, two old Pac-12 teams, step into the West Coast Conference for the first time.
Yeah, and Griggs, I think we're going to see those two higher seeds both win tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right.
Um,
Good comment.
yeah,
Where-
well,
where'd you-
Loyola could give Wazoo a game.
no, I mean they
No?
don't call me the best color man in the business for nothing. But I don't know. I think I think the two higher seeds win pretty easily. As you go through the ladder, you start to get more and more competitive. Wazoo didn't always bring it, but they brought it enough. I think that they'll win this one. We might be getting somebody else in here to share an opinion. I don't know. We'll if he jumps in, we'll come back to it. The West Coast expert.
Steve
Oh.
Lavin?
Yeah, Steve Lavin.
Steve
Nice.
Levin's
No,
jumping
no.
in.
No,
Direct from the locker
he's
room.
not an expert. He finished last.
Oh, okay. Anyhow, uh, let's go over to, well, I think it's time to check in. It is time for the Stairway to Seven and to see what's going on here in the Sun Belt Tournament.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good day, actually. Tormund, we had honestly, we had two great games between Marshall, Georgia State, and App State Old Dominion.
Yeah, Old Dominion game was real exciting. Again, they hit big threes down the stretch as they start to climb and climb and climb. They look really good. They're getting confident as this goes on. Now you start to wonder, though. Now this is what game 4 tomorrow.
This will be they have now won three straight, so tomorrow's game will be their fourth game in 4 days.
That's a lot. Now Troy hasn't played in, I believe, 5 days. So there's that's a big difference now because if I'm Troy, I am exerting a ton of energy on defense to make them work for everything they can get and run them down. I'd be pressing a little, and I want to make them use all the energy, whatever they have left, so they have nothing left in the second half. I happen to think Troy is the better team as well, and I think Troy moves on. And Old Dominion step is over.
Yeah. A couple interesting things. I think from here on out, all of the games are going to be competitive. Arkansas State was, while they weren't the first place team, they were only a game behind it. And I think that they had the best overall profile. Like the win at Memphis was really big, but Marshall also really good. Again, they were inconsistent throughout the year, but that is a really, really good game. And the winner is, I think, I think either one of them can give South Alabama a game. Old Dominion, even if they lose tomorrow, they might have the distinction of having won the most tournament games in this tournament without winning the tournament, depending on who ends up winning the tournament. Because if it's Troy or Arkansas State, Old Dominion will have won as many. But if it's one of the top two seeds, Old Dominion has already won more games than anybody else in the tournament would have won. Does that give them the auto bid?
No, it does not. Obina Anna Chili Killen for Marshall. He's got had the layup for the win there. But speaking about Marshall, I'm actually going to digress from the men's game for a moment here because the women in the Sun Belt are playing the exact same Stairway to Seven in their
Yeah.
tournament. And I want to give a shout out to the Marshall women. They started in the very first round, and they are now 4 for 4 in games, going to their
Really?
fifth game tomorrow. Marshall
Wow.
women will update what happened with them tomorrow, but they are 4 for 4, and they are trying to do the full climb of the entire stairway. We're going
Wow.
to keep you up to date on this. It's kind of an exciting thing going on there with
Fair.
the
Are
women's
they in, is
games.
them get them to they're in the quarters then tomorrow?
They are in the quarters tomorrow.
Yeah.
They started
Very
in that
cool.
game on Tuesday, all the way back there as I think as the 11th seed.
Very
Uh,
cool.
Oh,
Wow.
let's see where we want to go. Let's before we go
oh
to the
wow.
last conference that was playing today, let's take a quick look at some of the games coming up tomorrow, at least in one of the conferences. We're going to be back in action tomorrow in the Northeast Conference, Griggs, semifinal day. And at 2:0 p.m., we got to fix that. That should be 2 o'clock p.m.
Yeah.
We're going to have Central Connecticut hosting Fairleigh Dickinson, and that's going to be after the Long Island St. Francis game.
Yeah. The Long Island St. Francis, I think the home team wins both games, and I think Central Connecticut wins. I don't want to see in a blowout, but I think they win rather decisively. I just think Central Connecticut's better than everyone else in the league, and with them being having home court advantage throughout, I think they kind of coast.
Yeah, Dorman, what do you think about the other games here tomorrow? St. Francis, LIU. Even if Central Connecticut's going to win this event, how about that game?
I think it should be a good game. St. Francis showed me a lot in that game with Wagner. It was tight, nip and tuck the whole way. Uh, very physical game. Long Island was my pick to try and upset Central Connecticut. I'm not really feeling great about it because I'm not even sure they're going to beat St. Francis. But I will say that I'm really looking forward to the St. Francis Long Island game tomorrow. Should be fantastic. And a shout out to the NEC who does it right. These are on campuses, sites, but not just that. They are separate. The times are different so the fans can watch both games. Very good.
Yes, very good, as opposed to what the Patriot League did the other night with all 4 games on at once. We did skip a conference. I'm going back to it right now. It was semifinal day in the OVC today. Let's start with real quick, Dorman, with the first game. SEMO Little Rock. Not much of a game, was it?
Not much of a game. SEMO got up double digits and really never looked back. Little Rock looked not re- they were too many turnovers, not making good decisions. The coach was getting upset with some of the guys, and then the guys were getting on each other. Wasn't a great. It wasn't Little Rock's finest moment, but they had a nice week. They beat Tennessee Martin last night, so they go out with a win, not their last game. But I think SEMO is the much better team in that matchup, and anything Little Rock was going to do today was going to be coming up short unless they were perfect. SEMO very strong.
The score is not quite on the screen yet, Griggs, but the reason we delayed this is because we actually started a little early tonight. But SIU Edwardsville just held on somehow.
Woo.
No points
Yeah.
in the final minute and a half by either team. Held on for a 71-69 win over Tennessee State behind 24 points from Rayshawn Taylor. But how about this Edwardsville team with their win over Tennessee State today?
It's a big moment for they've never been to a championship game. They're a recent transitional program themselves. They've really started to build themselves up, and they're one of the better programs in the OVC right now, I think. I mean, I know that they've never won it or finished first, but to finish second this year, to win 20 games, now 21, and to kind of be building this from scratch and build I think that they're building a big culture there. I don't know what will happen tomorrow, to be honest. I think that they're probably in over their heads. SEMO is just on fire right now, but I just think that this SIUE, it would be a program defining moment if they could win this and get to the NCAA tournament. And even though they're almost assuredly going to Dayton, uh, But even if they don't, how do you? I mean, you have to just kind of admire what they've done this year, and then all of the steps they've taken from being a transitional team up into one of the conference front runners, quite frankly.
And Griggs, hasn't this turned into like a nice, real solid rivalry quickly?
Yeah, yeah, it has.
This will be
And it should
exciting.
be a good game tomorrow. I think both teams will. I mean, a lot of the games so far have been played in front of empty seats.
Not
So I
tomorrow.
think I think both these fan bases will travel tomorrow. It'll be sort of a walk-up ticket, but it should be a fun game. But what SEMO did today and what they had been doing really for the last 3 weeks, I just think that they're just a freight train.
I agree. I think I'd be shocked if Edwardsville wins this game. And
Yeah.
this will be our first automatic bid that will be handed out. Uh, Even if the bid is clinched in the Summit League, I think these games will go final before the Summit League games go final. So
Yeah.
this will be our first bid handed out tomorrow night, probably around 11 o'clock tomorrow night. SEMO, SIU, Edgeworthsville. Uh, Two other conferences to get to that are going to be kicking things off tomorrow. Dorman, it is quarterfinal round day in the
Woo-hoo!
America
Yes.
East. Also, conference
Maine,
that's not starting
Maine,
all four.
Maine, 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 Maine. We've got Maine hosting a postseason game for the first time in whenever. I don't know how long.
Okay. First of all, as I was saying, the four games are not being played at the same time, so we can watch them all. Second of all, yes, Maine. It's been almost 30 years since a postseason game was played in the state of Maine. It will happen when they host Lowell. Dorman, the other games: Vermont hosting New Hampshire, Albany hosting Binghamton, Bryant hosting UMBC. You see any upsets? You see the road teams winning any of these games?
I can't remember the last time this wasn't flat out going to be the Vermont Invitational with everything going through Burlington and Vermont just being the class of the conference. Do I see any upsets? I think Binghamton, not that it's a big upset, is right there with Albany. Uh, New Hampshire has shown signs, but now Vermont's playing better, so I think Vermont will hold. And I'm with Griggs. Let's go, Maine.
I love the main story. First of all, I do not agree with you on the Albany Binghamton game.
Really?
I think Albany's been playing a lot better the last couple of weeks here. I think Albany's gonna win this game. I am picking one upset though. I hate to do it, but Maine is not playing well right now at all.
They're not.
And I think Lowell's gonna get them tomorrow.
Oh,
Brian safe?
Bryant is definitely gonna be safe against UMBC. That's gonna but with the
yeah,
reseeding, that would set up Lowell against Bryant and Albany against Vermont. So it'll give Bryant the easier path to actually be able to host the game against Vermont and get to that final on
yeah. I don't
Saturday.
ever recall Maine getting past the quarters. I'm sure they have at some point, but I
Yes,
can't.
they have. It's been about 12, 15 years since they had a couple of decent teams, not great teams, but
Yeah.
yeah, they have. They've never made the NCAA tournament though. Since we're starting this conference off though, Griggs, who's your pick to win it all?
Uh, Vermont. Um, I know Bryant won it, but I just think Vermont, again, they're one of those teams that it took them a while to wake up, but they're awake now. And just in the last few weeks, they've just looked better than everyone else. And they should get, I know that they potentially have to go on the road to Bryant to do it, but I think they can.
Dorman?
Yeah, I got a surprise here, but I love their coach uh, in Pat Duquette, and I love their experience, and they're a real older team. And I think they were banged up and injured and had some real tight, close losses during the year. So the record doesn't look good, and the losses get mounting up. But I like UMass Lowell to go on a run and take the American East.
Wow, going with the sixth seed. Um, be a heck of a story.
Yeah,
I'm with Griggs though. I'm with the Vermont pick here. Um, I could see Lowell making a run to the finals, which would give Vermont the home court throughout. But uh,
Yeah. But
anyhow,
if Bryant and Vermont both lose tomorrow, Maine has the home court advantage.
yeah, unless Maine loses also. Uh,
Yeah.
Big Sky Conference. They do the first round with that 7 versus 8 and 9 versus 10, much like the A Sun did,
Yeah.
and it is first round day. So first question here, Griggs: Weaver State, Sacramento State, Northern Arizona, Eastern Washington. What are you looking forward to tomorrow's games?
Uh the floor sweepers.
It's
I mean,
Starch
that's what
Madness. Come on.
Starch Madness. Yeah. I I I kind of got to I kind of got to go with Weber in Eastern Washington. I know Eastern Washington has not looked good all year, but I just kind of have a feeling about them. Having said that, the the team that they'll be playing and that the winner of each of tomorrow's games will be playing in the next round almost makes me wonder, should they just join forces, have an all-star team, and then they might only lose by 15 or 20 in that quarterfinal game.
Uh, uh, Dorman, we have seen some upsets in Starch Madness in recent years. Who do you think is going to win this event?
I'm not going with the top seed, but I'm going with a little chalky here. I like Montana to get out of this
Me
and
too.
get the auto bid. I think they'll have no trouble with either Northern Arizona or Eastern Washington. And then I think they handle Portland State. They've been real successful against them. I think Montana, steps up in the championship game and gets the title.
I'm
That's a solid pick.
I'm actually with you also. I think all three of us are agreeing on this Montana to win this event here.
Yeah,
Well, now
Northern
we know who will
Colorado
win.
had a great year, looked really good for a lot of the year, but I just think right now Montana looking a little better.
Yeah,
Um,
Montana did slip up at the end of the season, which is why they fell to the two seed. They actually had the lead heading into the final game, but
mhm.
I'm with you. I think Montana
Um,
does take
a
this.
little bit of a shout out here, and it would be fun to see them win. Idaho State, a traditionally awful program, finishing fourth and has a winnable game tomorrow. They're having a really good year.
Yes, they are. Although Montana State has been a force of this conference tournament in recent years, coming
Yeah.
out of lower seeds to win it also. So,
Mhm.
uh, they can make that run as well. They could be dangerous. That's it for the games coming up tomorrow. So let's run over to our survival board. This is where you find this right up here on the website. This is where we're
Yes.
heading into the day.
Hmm.
Heading into the day, there were 293 teams left with a shot to win it all. As a result of today's action, with the exception of the late OVC and West Coast Conference games, which were not updated quite yet because we're doing the show. Let's see where we are. 274 Griggs, and
Wow.
it's about to actually be 272 by the end of the night.
Yeah. Oh, so it's like it's not the final four, but it is the final 274. Get your t-shirts ready.
Can you tell everyone what this is here, what this survival board is, in addition to keep doing that countdown?
Yeah, it's well it the biggest service that it provides is that it's a tool for the selection committee to help them with the selection process. It's to guide them and instruct them because the committee's real busy and you might recall when the committee meets on Wednesday, we're going to be recapping what they do throughout the day and they just get really busy and they don't really have time always to do the proper evaluations, but this tool makes sure that they're doing the proper evaluations.
Right. So, and it actually has teams in different colors and in different
Yeah,
groupings here that tell them where a team should be. So, for example, if the committee is sitting there and they're saying, um,
you know,
well,
they're
they're
at an
talking about,
ice cream. They just get back from the ice cream social and they're
and
sitting
the
there.
name,
Yeah,
and suddenly the name New Mexico comes up. And one
yeah.
of them says, I think they won the Mountain West. The other one goes, no, I think they finished dead last. Griggs, what does this board tell them about New
Well,
Mexico?
it tells them that they need to select New Mexico. They did
Okay.
win the Mountain West,
Yeah.
so like that New Mexico is locked in, and they need to take them.
What if another committee member suddenly goes, hey, that Valpo team made a great run the last two
Yeah,
days. I actually watched those games. Maybe even if they lose and don't get the auto bid, we should get them an at-large bid.
right, and th this could happen. You know, some people on the committee are not have ever going to ever heard of Valpo, and then someone else may not have heard of them either, but they happen to watch the games tonight and they want to select them. Well, again, this is why we do this board. It's you can't select them unless they win the auto bid. You
Right.
can't consider them, you can't debate them. They need the auto bid.
What if suddenly one of them goes, we're big Hoops HD fans, and we know that Dorman guy is from Chicago. What about
Yeah.
Chicago State? Maybe we should put them in.
Well, And I'm glad you asked that, Chad, because that happens more than you realize. The committee, very big Hoops HD fans, and they tend, because they are fans, to want to select the teams we like. I mean, they all but begged to select San Jose State last year, and they might want to take Chicago State because they know Dorman is from Chicago, and they're in there. And say one of their meals is pizza, and it's Chicago style pizza, and they're like, "Oh, this is delicious! Like we're going to take Chicago State." But they're because they're big fans, they're going to come to the board and see if that's a team that they can select, and they're going to see right away they're crossed out. No, you cannot.
We talked to
Chicago
the
State dismissed their coach this evening.
Yeah.
we talked to the start of the show about Boise State losing to Colorado State. What if they're talking about both those teams, Griggs? Boise State, Colorado State. Maybe
Well,
one of those two teams should go in. Should either one of them go in?
yeah, and maybe they take both, maybe they take neither, but that is one of the that is a choice that they're going to have to make. And when they see a team that's in green, they know that okay, they're not deciding for us. They're not telling us what to do. We have to make this decision ourselves.
Right. So we give them a little bit of work to do, and
Yeah,
we may even move some of those teams around even
yeah,
before we get to next week. Even we did that
right.
last night. A couple of teams got moved
Yeah,
into different categories. We'll double check again one more time. But
yeah.
let's go to our best 15 trophies in college athletics. How about
Okay,
that?
yeah.
We've been counting
Mhm.
these down. We've got some great ones so far. We've seen the wagon wheel. We've seen the old Okra bucket.
Yeah,
We've seen all the other top range, back range, front range, and conference champion buckets. All those buckets.
yeah,
We saw Sweetums. I mean, the Concordia St. Olaf Troll. Real
yeah.
trophy here, folks. These
Yeah,
are real trophies. All of them. I mean,
yeah. Those are real trophies. Yeah.
the Border War
The
trophy.
Border War Trophy. This is one of my favorite ones. Wow. I mean, the history behind this. I mean, it dates back to the actual border war that took place between Colorado and Wyoming,
Thus, the Kansas Missouri Border War
but thus
trophy.
the Kansas, Missouri. I mean, bleeding Kansas. Most people don't realize this. It was. Oh yeah.
Oh yes, yesterday we saw
Yeah.
the Winwood Cup come in here. And it was competed tonight, and Winthrop completed the win here. How about that, Steve Winwood, the Winwood Cup?
Steve Winwood pictured on the Winwood. That's
But we got another one. We got another one tonight.
yes.
We're going on to number
Okay.
9.
Yes. And from what I understand, this one actually is real.
This one actually is real, and it was also competed tonight with a team finish off the season sweeping it. Here it comes. This is real, folks. The Silver Shako given to the Citadel VMI winner. And if you're under 18 or under 21, you should not, I guess under 18, you should not be watching this right now, I don't think.
Yes. This is as ridiculous as this looks, and it looks as ridiculous as some of our mythical trophies. This is not a mythical trophy. I didn't believe it when you actually, I actually saw it for the first time, but it is real. And a funny story about this trophy is that it used to, before the Hoops HD Survival Board, Chad, the winner of this trophy got an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. Did you realize this? And this goes back all the way to the start of the rivalry. I mean, the committee would look at this, they'd be so amazed by that trophy, they would be like, "Well, we have to take them. I mean, look at the trophy." And that's one of the histories of it. It goes to the Citadel VMI winner, VMI having fun celebrating with that in their locker room, and I don't want to even
I don't want to
visualize.
know anymore. Please, no more.
Yes,
Please, no more.
what's going on?
Again, you
And
got to be over 18 to watch this show here.
Is it a band? Is it a band hat?
I think that's what it's supposed to be. Yes. I'm not going to say what it looks like, but I think
you don't have to say what it looks like. It looks like what it looks like. Ah,
Let's go to final thoughts, Dorman.
Yes, I'm going to go with a little media where I saw today ESPN for the first time since they lost the Big East tournament rights and they started going with their big main. They moved it on to the ACC tournament. So they would bring, ESPN would bring Game Day and their top announcer crew with Shulman and Billis to the ACC every year. And this year, I guess within the last few days, they have decided to switch. They are going to bring the show and the top announcing crew to Nashville. They're going to be doing the SEC tournament this year.
Well, let's look at
Yeah.
the ACC standings this
Oh.
year. Look at the SEC. I think it's a good decision. Just wild thought there. Griggs, you want to finish off the show?
Yeah, a couple of the under the radar storylines to outline that we have harped on. Maine had one of their best seasons in recent memory. I know that they've been tapering down the stretch, but getting to play that game at home, I hope the fans show out. Northern Iowa, while again another great story, they don't play tomorrow; they play Sunday. But I'm already excited for that Lipscomb Northern Iowa final. I think that might be one of the most entertaining atmospheres out there.
Griggs.
Yeah.
Lipscomb's not playing Northern Iowa. They're playing North Alabama.
No, I said North Alabama. Yeah,
We like Iowa. We like Iowa.
Northern Iowa.
Iowa
got
is still in
downgraded.
Iowa, I believe.
Yeah, I was still in North Alabama. I'm trying to pay them a compliment, and I can't even get their damn school name right. I'm sorry. But SIUE, again, a recent transitional team with a chance to have a program-defining win tomorrow. And what are some of the Drake? I think has been great. They've been one of the better stories in all of college basketball, not just under the radar. So, just some interesting storylines throughout championship week that always make it fun.
Yes, there are. And on that note, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow night with our Day 7 podcast. I have no idea what time we're going to do it, but we'll figure that out. But on behalf of David Dorman, David Griggs, I'm Chad Sherwood. We will talk to you again tomorrow night.